Happy Friday, everybody. Brigadier General Matt Higer here with you on the 1st of April, 2022. It is not April Fool's that we are in a different place and that we don't have the green screen with a nice picture of an airplane behind us. We're broadcasting today from the Airmen and Family Readiness Center. With me today on stage here in the main, the main hall of ANFRC, as always, is Chief Master Sergeant D. Ward-Swanigan. Happy Friday, Chief. And I also have two award winners here, which we'll talk to here in a second. Folks, just because we're in a different venue and broadcasting from a slightly different place doesn't mean that your questions and your comments and your inputs are not very, very, very welcome. And that's a big part of why we do this at the same time, on the same duty day, every duty day Friday, 1300 every duty day Friday, Pacific time. And if one of you wants to ask me an opinion on standard time, daylight savings time, and whether or not I support that legislation that's in Congress, that would be a fascinating question, and I would love to have that talk with anyone. To get that question or that comment or that feedback into us, as always, the number bottom of the screen, 707-412-8922, 707 like the big early airplane, 412-412 test wing, and TWCC is the 8922 there. So text it in. We got somebody offline compiling the questions, comments, and inputs now. But after Chief Ward-Swanigan says hello and gives you her initial thoughts, we have some pretty exciting things to talk about today, and I'm pretty fired up about it. Maybe a little purple in there, so we'll go with that as a hint. Chief?
So happy Friday, as General Higer just said. I am pretty fired up. We just wrapped up an amazing Women's History Month. There was lots of events, and I attended lots of panels and got lots of perspective from some amazing women leaders out there, and we had awesome male support in those audiences with us, so it was just a good time. And sir, as you know, I'm on the road often, and so having come back and now we've got some good things lined up for today. I'm just happy to be here. So hello, everybody.
Yeah, same. I tell you, one of my favorite quotes from a Women's History Month presentation a few years back was, let's start calling them the founders, right? Back in the 18th century, because I think founding fathers is a little bit too exclusive for the wrong reasons. And I said that a couple years back, having just read a bunch by Abigail Adams. And folks, if you've not read anything by Abigail Adams, John Adams, John Adams was her spouse, not the other way around, and she was also the parent of a president, not just the spouse of a president too. So yeah, to exclude her from the founders, I think, was a big gap in American history, which is why I refer to that crowd as the founders. So yes, another successful Special Observance Month. We have many throughout the year. Kind of what Chief alluded to there, for Special Observance Months, we try in the front office, to the extent that our schedule allows, and I expect from the command teams, that pick an event in each month, whether that a month applies to you demographically or not, go attend, go learn. There's a tremendous amount of history and knowledge that you can pick up from those events, and voting with your feet and attending, especially as a leader, super, super important. As we broadcast that these are not just for the people that the month is named for or dedicated to, it's for all of us. So speaking about that, all of us and folks that are bouncing around, put on my old man cheaters here, and we are honored to be joined on stage and on the broadcast here by what we're calling our Warriors of the Week. Now, how do we get the Warriors of the Week? We go back to our quarterly or our annual award list, and we say, hey, are you available? Are you available? The civilians actually have a choice. Most of the military folks that join us kind of say, I see you're not doing anything else. See you there. So with that in mind, we are joined on stage by Senior Airman Derek Johnson. Right? You go by Derek. I have a cheat sheet in front of me, and I read it. I'll tell you about Airman Johnson and I's cross paths here in a little while. But he was not nominated as the Honor Guardsman of the Quarter for the first quarter of 2022. He was nominated for the Honor Guardsman of the Quarter, first quarter of 2022, not what he does when he's not a member of the Honor Guard. So we'll hear a little bit from him on both of those here in a second. And the other person that is immediately to my right here is Fawcett, Mr. Fawcett, right? And he's going to talk to us about an acronym that is MSEP. Maintenance Standardization and Evaluation Program, which is one of the things that he drives and runs. And I will tell you, Mr. Fawcett, as a person that gets in those airplanes a lot, what you do on literally a daily, weekly, hourly basis allows me to comfortably get in that airplane and know that I have the maximum chance of returning that jet safely to chocks at the end of the sortie. So thank you both for being here today, and congratulations on winning in your respective categories. So Mr. Fawcett, why don't we start with that? I kind of teed up. What for the folks that know a little bit about aviation and probably a lot about the Air Force, tell us a little bit about what maintenance standardization is and what role you play in the generation of our primary mission here.
Maintenance Standardization and Evaluation Program is a program that we use to ensure safe assets for all the pilots, ensure the safety of flight, make sure it takes off, lands safely, and bring everybody back home safely. And we do that through multiple inspections and different types of inspections. We use quality verification inspections where we're inspecting parts, systems, or the aircraft as a whole. We do personal evaluations on people to make sure they know what they're doing when they're out there. We watch them from point A to point Z doing a task, make sure that they're following it step by step, they're doing it properly, and if they're not, that we document it correctly and get them retrained through their leadership. And then we do special inspections. We do inspections on the stands, like the boarding ladders that you use. We do it on the Hobarts that are connected to the aircraft, make sure everything's running properly. And we put it into a database called LEAP. It's we can manipulate the data, print it out for the group leadership, and we can identify trends that way. So that way, if we see something happening, we can start addressing it and make sure that we don't have continued trends. We do it on a quarterly basis and monthly basis. We send it out via paper, but on a quarterly basis, we do sit down with everybody in the room, all the AMU leadership, the group leadership, and we use that to talk about what we see if we identify the failures out there. And our goal, like I said, is to make sure you as a pilot are safe, bring you back safely, and keep those assets flying. They've been out there for a long time. We want to keep them out there for a longer time. We also have a special instrumentation area because we're test and evaluation here. Quality assurance, we touch a lot of different areas, not just inspections, but special instrumentation, they modify the aircraft, but we go out there and we inspect it, make sure that it meets the standards that are set, make sure that when they flip the switches in the cockpit, that things are working right. But they do that part of it. We're out there to inspect it, make sure that it's done correctly. And that's inspections kind of in a nutshell, but
yeah, so there's a crazy amount of detail involved in there. He did say pilots a couple times because I are one, right? I refer to myself as the Knuckle Dragon fighter pilot. But a lot of us ride on airplanes as passengers. Not all of us are pilots, and certainly all of us know folks that are aircrew on the airplanes. Never mind the fact that if something bad happens in an airplane airborne, there could be people literally impacted on the ground too. So it's a general safety thing, but it's also a resource protection and a resource preservation thing. So that's a huge part of that process. One of the things that has amazed me as we have talked about a theory of constraints or a total quality or a continuous process improvement or the most recent thing that we add to our lexicon in the Air Force, innovation. There's a lot of that has happened for decades in the maintenance career field. And the more I learn about what we do, just because that's the right thing to do in maintenance, the more I recognize that we, and in most cases, you, as maintainers, you lead the way. Total quality management was happening in Air Force maintenance, military maintenance, long before it was a buzzword in the public domain, and continuous process improvement is literally what we've been doing in tech order updates and validation, verification, those kinds of things also for many, 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 many decades. Another thing he hit on is that they're the folks that if they find some person that isn't performing up to speed, not just a part or a process or a piece of paper, they're the ones that say, yeah, let's send that person back into training. And in that regard, there's a culture that they maintain, pun intended, and that it's okay to admit, hey, maybe I need a little help here. In some cases, you don't know you needed that help until somebody points it out. And that back into training, making everybody sharper and not having any embarrassment along the way is a super important thing too. And that bleeds over into other parts of what we do on the base and in the mission too. So thanks, and congratulations for what you do. How long have you been at Edwards?
Which time, sir?
Which time? Can you hear him all right, B-Cubed? All right. So how long have you been here to this trip? And then how many trips in total time?
This trip, I've been here since 2004, and I came back here in 2004 as military, 1999. And then I separated in 2004 and became a civilian. And my specialty then was engine shop, so I worked propulsion. And our engine shop's unique. We have so many different engines there, and I worked the whole array of them in the shop, from JD5s, which power the T-38s, to the big boys that power the B-1. So it's been fun. It's been a good trip. I've enjoyed it. I went to QA in, I think in 2009, and I've been there ever since. I started as weight and balance, and that's your flight certification letters for your flights, how it's loaded up, and calculate your weight and CG and all that for the aircraft. So
yeah, absolutely. Lots of things that the air crew member and the maintainer could chat about here, but we will not drag out all those details. But what I heard him say was 23 years current time. Is this your second assignment here? You were here earlier in your career?
From 1983 to 1993.
Yeah, so you showed up when you were 10 the first time? Is that what it was? Yeah.
No,
not quite. All right. Well, this is my third assignment, but I don't have the tenure, so I'm glad you're on the team. And for those of you that are contemplating a place to show up and stay for a long time with some big impact and some career progression along the way, Mr. Fawcett's a great example of the opportunities that exist at maintenance at Edwards writ large, but also in maintenance in specific. So again, congratulations and thanks for being here. All right, Airman Johnson. So I'd like you to answer a question for me. We'll let Chief hitch up with one as well, and then I'm going to hit a follow-up there. So in the quarter, and if you don't have the exact number, I get that, how many honor guard details did you do in the first quarter of 2022?
I believe it was around the number of 52 honor guard details. And then we do extra duty details, and I did 4 colors. One was for joint, and then the others were for all Air Force colors.
Okay, so when you say 52 details, a lot of people don't. It's to me, it's somewhat a testament to the quiet professionals that the Honor Guard is, and it's also a testament to the commitment that our nation has to our citizen soldiers. But when you say 52 details, what's a detail? And give us an example of what one of those is.
So a Honor Guard detail would be a funeral service. Typically, we are going there to give that member's last military service that they signed a military service that they may have, and we are honoring them by either giving them flag fold, playing the bugle, and the gun salute. So those are what I mean by the details.
And 52 of those in the first quarter of 2022.
Yes, sir.
Yes, and so for folks that don't know this, the Edwards Air Force Base Honor Guard, we also have some folks that are on our Honor Guard. They're at March Air Force Base. We have the coverage for the Air Force and for most of the active duty force, actually, for almost all of Southern California. That's a gigantic population, and even if it's a small percentage of the population that are veterans, that's a lot of people. And so the numbers are huge, and that's the primary reason we have an Honor Guard. A lot of folks don't realize that. What they see are the additional details and additional duties, and give us a list of what those typically are, the additional ones.
So the additional duties could be colors, as I mentioned before, and that can be in the form of going to a parade, going to football games, baseball games, or any sports event, and just representing the nation's colors and our flag. So.
Retirements, promotions, change of command,
yes,
all those as well, which is where we are typically most common in seeing the Honor Guard. Did you go to Rams Charger Stadium by chance?
I did go to the Rams football game in the playoffs. Also went to the Rose Bowl where I got to meet General Brown. So that was nice.
Awesome. So if you are an airman and you're interested in Honor Guard, there's a solemn duty that is a member of the Honor Guard, but there are some significant exposures and opportunities. And let me think. A Rams game, a Rose Bowl, and the Chief of Staff of the Air Force. I don't know. It sounds like a pretty good quarter to me. So, Chief, anything you want to push or pull from?
I'm glad that we have one of our honor guardsmen here to represent as an award winner. A lot of airmen don't have the opportunity to step outside their current day-to-day AFSC type role. So, in your experience, how would you say that has had an impact on your career or your future outlook on your time serving?
So I would say, as far as my career, because I'm medical by profession, it's given me a better perspective of all of the other AFSCs across the entire Air Force. Mainly here, I'm interacting with security forces, maintenance. I'm also interacting with finance and all those other type of people. So it's allowing me to see their culture,
Yes.
which is slightly different from medical. And it's letting me see the whole perspective of each and every airman. And then it's also letting me see some of the good and the bad, which I could be like, oh, well, okay, for my healthcare perspective, like, you all may need to go see a little bit more mental health or in those type natures. So, yeah.
Good deal. That's really good. That's what I'm hoping that airmen who go off and do other things have the opportunity to see. So it's working. And I think you're a good recruiter for Honor Guard at this point.
Absolutely. So first term airman, right? You assessed here at Edwards
Yes.
after tech training, right? I don't know that we've overlapped. Well, so full disclosure, usually when I see Airman Johnson, he's got a blue lab coat on and often like this covered as well. But it was A1C Johnson, I think, the first time that I chatted with you. And
Yes, sir.
you've been at Edwards two-ish?
2.5 years now. And then I've been in the Air Force 3.5 years.
Okay.
So yes, and this is my first duty station.
Awesome. I will tell you, folks, that getting the opportunity to do, so it's not DSD, right? But it is something that's way outside your lane of career field early, especially in your first term, I think gives you a tremendous perspective as you are soon going to be a supervisor of airmen. And they're like, man, one and done, I'm out of here. And you're like, okay, hold on. I understand the pressures, but have you considered? And there's a lot of opportunities that open up when you become an NCO if you decide to jump through a commissioning source and into the company grade ranks as well. And you're getting a lot of insight into that. So thanks for pushing that on and that out. I'm positive that you're competitive in your airman category as well, but you were selected as our first as our honor guardsman of the first quarter.
Fourth.
Sorry, we're
Yes,
doing
sir.
fourth quarter
Yes,
awards. The first quarter ended yesterday. We'll have those in a future episode. I'm just excited because it's April the 1st, and the reason for the purple ribbon on my.
Well, that could be your April Fool's joke.
Yeah, there you
First
go.
quarter, just kidding.
Yeah.
Fourth.
Everybody would love for the awards process to be done in less than one day, including the folks in the front office, that's for sure. But fourth quarter award winners, honor guardsmen and civilian supervisor management of the quarter. Gentlemen, thank you for everything you do on a daily basis, both on duty and off, and for your collective service as well. And we look forward to seeing you around the installation. All right.
Thank you.
So while they're exiting stage right, we're going to talk about a couple other things that are upon us. The first one is we found out. Chief and I were at the AFMC Senior Leader Conference in last week in Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, and it was the last day of the conference. So at least for me, Chief's got some bonus time on Thursday, and we had the Air Force Services Center commander visiting us. When Colonel Chris Parrish is his name, when Chris Parrish said, "Hey, here's the lay of the land, and here's what updates are all," he said, "Do you have any questions?" And they didn't even have to offer who was going to go first. So I asked the first question. My first question was about our housing crisis. And as you have heard me talk more than once, I think we already had a housing crisis in the Aerospace Antelope Valley area, and then the nation had a housing crisis. So we have a compounding housing crisis right now. The housing crisis solutions or potential pop-up valves or mitigations are long run or long range. We need more houses here, point blank. We are working and have been working on that extensively and for quite a while. The medium range one, so we have 700, I think the number is 41 housing units we're going to have, we could easily fill double that, in my opinion, and that's the long-range solution. We're working on that. The medium-range solution would be the apartment complex that we have been admiring for, 4 years and change now, maybe longer than that. It was my predecessor's predecessor that kicked that off. That appears to be gaining some traction, but I can't predict when we're going to have the realization of that. So medium range, 3 min years, but probably more like 5 years out. The short range solution is FAMCAMP expansion and a policy change that was within my authorities to prioritize airmen that live on the installation or that are assigned here to use FAMCAMP as a long-term, and in some cases their permanent residence. And we're expanding that by, I think the number is 16 slots due to some very generous matching from the AFMC We Need initiative and some money that we had able to push that. And those should be open imminently. In fact, we did a groundbreaking ceremony there a while back, and it's pretty close to complete. So that's the good news. That's the short-range solution. The bad news with FAMCAMP is I think there's a lot more demand than we have places to park them right now. So we will continue to look at other opportunities. And then the emergency or the triage one, and this gets me to what we learned last week. The triage one is we have got to figure out a way to make living in the TLF when you don't have any other options, like you're waiting on a house, on or off base, you're waiting to close, on or off base, or you're waiting on your way out, PCS, on or off base. Not by choice you're there, but because you don't have a choice. You have to live in the TLFs. Make that so it's not punishing financially. In fact, I use the description that we're trying to prevent arterial bleeds of cash through the wallet for our airmen. And Colonel Parrish got to the end of his briefing, didn't give us an update on the 130th of BAH, which was scheduled to end yesterday. And he said, yes, in fact, that has extended. And so I was elated to hear that. It is not just airmen at Edwards that will benefit from that extension. It gets us out into the summer. I don't know the exact date on the policy expiration yet, but it gets us deep into the PCS season. It'll be the same qualification criteria. We heard it on Thursday. Should have been announced last week on the town hall Friday. We said max blast to everyone so people aren't doing crazy things to avoid the very high costs of full rate TLFs and lodging when they don't have any other options to go. So I'm glad we delivered that, and today would have been the day that those arterial bleeds would have started from some airmen's pockets. Yes. To drive my point home, I did some quick math at the conference, and I said, I used my BAH, right? And said, my BAH doesn't even cover full rate. In fact, it's not quite half, it's a little over half of what a monthly cost would be. Mm-hmm. So, and if I barely have half of it with my BAH, there's no way anybody else on the installation is even close. So I think that message was heard clearly, and we're getting down to, so the emergency crisis is no longer there. Short-term, medium-term, long-term are still the things we're going at. So that was a great news event that I was happy to push out, and I think got broadcast last week, and I wanted to foot stomp it today. So that was the April 1st good news that could have been bad news, but April, including April 1st, is a really good day. So go ahead and pan out, show the two folks that just joined us on the right. So my far right, Chief, you want to introduce this fine gentleman here real quick? It's first time on camera, I think.
Yes, somewhat. I think we gave everybody a peek under the tent a couple of town halls ago, maybe with questions, but I could be wrong. So if everybody is not tracking, I have a new exec, and it's Sergeant Morris here. So he joined us recently. He's now part of the front office team as the command chief exec, and we're happy to have him. So welcome again.
As your questions hit in, it's going to be him, and he's going to have some questions. We also have some off-camera support as well. Questions, comments, suggestions, 707-412-8922. Text them in. We getting any rung in? Say again? Oh, copy. Yes. And don't forget that is what I just heard. All right.
I like the suspense, though.
We'll go there.
I was just going with it.
I want to hit this one first. Text them in. Text in your comments, questions, and anything else you want to. So, Sergeant Morris, welcome to the front office team again. I'm glad to have you. Glad to have you on the crowd. Yep, I'm going to learn a lot from you. It's also good to have some defenders in and around the area to get me out to the range. Keep the gun oil on my sidearm. So I appreciate that. All right, now. Those of you that know this lady on my right know that she is not at all a stranger to being on camera and doing town halls. This is Candace Lang, our school liaison officer. your school liaison officer. Candace and I are, and Chief is also on the team, are part of the leadership team in our schools task force. But she also does a lot of other things as your school liaison officer, to include being, I'll say, the point person for the month of April every year. So Candace, as if the purple isn't enough hint, I'll let you tell everybody what April is on military installations every year.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for having me today. Today is the month of the military child. So today is the kickoff, and I think it was exactly 1 year ago today that you, accompanied with Mrs. Brown, the spouse of our Air Force Chief of Staff, delivered and signed the proclamation for Month of the Military Child for Edwards Air Force Base and Plant 42.
Yes.
You don't want to forget that.
Absolutely.
So this year, I mean, this time of the year just gives me such pride to serve as the base installation school liaison, because our kids, they deserve so much recognition and celebration. And they, you know, on average, our military children, they move like 6 to 9 times during their kindergarten through 12th grade years. And they face so many transitions where change is really the norm for them. And they face a lot of obstacles, but one of the things that's kind of sad is they have to say goodbye way too often. You know, goodbye to their friends, goodbye to their clubs, their sports, their activities, their location, and pack up and do it all over again. So I am just so proud to be here, and also proud for the entire Edwards Air Force community to include our Force Support Squadron, our schools, our child and youth education programs. I mean, everyone's going all out to recognize and honor, educate, and celebrate our kids. And I have a lot of talking points. We have a lot of activities to cover. So with the first one, today, April 1st, is our kickoff of our baseball and softball season.
Awesome.
And today at 5 o'clock at the pitch ceremony, our youth sports director, Mr. Emil Graves, will be given a special recognition and announcement recognizing our military-connected youth. And it'll be at Winning Field, right across from the bowling center.
Awesome. So that's the place where Extravaganza is held every year. That's the place where we had the Gary Sinise and the Lieutenant Dan Band concert.
Yes, sir.
That's it, right behind the baseball diamonds and across from the bowling alley. So good kickoff event for the month of the military child. Chief and I don't know if you noticed it, I'm not going to make you zoom in, but we're wearing little purple ribbons in honor of all of you military children. You know, the uniform member serves, but everyone else sacrifices as well as the military member. There are a couple in my house, so I'd like to give a shout out to my 2 trailing military kids. You've already moved and done things that I never had to do, having been with the same cohort, even in the same house, from the time I was in first grade until the time I graduated from high school. So shout out to my 2. But it's not just my 2. Chief's got a brood as well that she might give a shout out here too. And all of us have some affiliation, even if the kids aren't in our house with us. We all know and are impacted by and have the opportunity to positively impact the military children that are in our community. And we do that in a variety of ways. You know, Candace is right. It's challenging for any of us to move, to leave the. One of the things I dislike least about moving is the move itself. Yes, and it's a lot harder when you're a person that isn't used to that or hasn't done it. So there's one facet there. She's already talked about the social connections that they have to learn to deal with. I will say that if you look at all those challenges, and they're legit, you can flip those and look at them as opportunities too. Because of the strength and the resilience that our children learn because of what they go through as a military child, they have tremendous opportunity to be better and more resilient adults in society. But that's not a foregone conclusion. And so making sure they get there and they look at these and they inculcate these and as opportunities and not just, oh, Dad, we have to move again. Not just that. I mean, that's a legitimate critique, but that's a big part of the month of the military child. You will hear a lot of us talk to it or sign off emails or broadcasts as Purple Up. So to the extent that you can, man, I really wish, Chief, that next time you talk to Chief Bass, I'd like a purple option in April at least once to wear no CPs. But if I could, I would. Trust me. if you see purple and you see a child, thank them for their sacrifice and their service as well, especially in the month of April. So Candace, if you want to hit one or two more big events throughout the month, and then I'll let Chief pitch in on this topic too.
Yes, we have quite a number of events happening all throughout the month of April. The bowling center, for example, they actually kick off their Kids Bowl free all month long, and they actually extend it spring and summer. So kids under 18 get 2 free games every weekday. So that's pretty exciting.
No skipping school. No skipping school.
Well, there is one opportunity where they will get a late tardy that I'll talk about here.
I see.
Also, our Air Force Flight Test Museum will have a special guest speaker on Monday, the 4th of April. And this is more of an educational outreach opportunity, but we're going to have retired Colonel and Pilot Elder Bert Buzz Carpenter there to kind of walk down memory lane and talk about his experiences here at Edwards and talk about my favorite plane, which is the SR-71. But all students that are able to come out and attend that event will get a special thank you from your school liaison. So that's April 4th.
And that's the
3 to
late
5.
tardy event. That's the excused tardy. Is that the one?
No, not that
Oh,
one.
that's after school.
That
Okay.
is after school, 3
Got
to
it.
5. Now, Starbase Edwards, that's our first flyer there. They are going all out with a STEM open house, and that's for all K through 12 students on the April the 9th, Saturday. It's 10 to 2, and they will have over 20 hands-on STEM activities, face painting, egg dyeing, food trucks, music. I think there's prizes galore. So that's one to put on the calendar for our families not to miss. It'll be over there at the Starbase building on Bailey Avenue, 1595 Bailey Avenue.
All right. I tell you what, folks, getting folks to Starbase and emphasizing STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math at all ages, super, super valuable for the students. It's also very valuable, in my very strong opinion, for the nation, that we take a lot of the mystique and in some cases the fear out of what can be some very challenging topics and remind folks that it's all very logical, it's all very simple, especially as you start adding it all up. I mean, it is not quite as simple as 1 + 1 always equals 2, but if you make it that simple early and you give folks their entire primary education, they're likely to stay with more challenging topics or subjects, and our nation needs folks that have the interest and the capability to stay with those, and that's what Starbase is really good at doing. So I'm excited. Again, full disclosure, on the 9th, I'm taking, actually I think my kids are taking me to the Starbase STEM event, and so yes, I fully intend to be there. It'll be fantastic.
Great. We also have on the 11th of April, the Roseburg Fitness Center is going to have a 5K walk or run at 6:30 in the morning to welcome the sunrise. And students and our junior RTC cadets will be there. 6:30, the meeting point's going to be there at Hangar 1600. And I can't think of a better opportunity to walk with our families right down the flight line. So that is the 11th of April, and I've talked with the principal. Mr. Campbell said all late tardies for that one will be excused as long as you get with the principal and let him know where you're going to be.
Awesome.
Okay, so.
Yeah, not very often you get to run or walk down the flight line. That's pretty cool.
Right.
All right, Candace, last one, and then I'll hand off to Chief, and then we got a couple other exciting things to get out to the public here.
Okay, well, of course, the 15th of April is our Purple Up Day. That's California's Purple Up Day, so that's the day for everybody to show their pride. The schools will have Spirit Days. Bailey will have a special month of the military child performance later on in April on the 29th. And also the school liaison is hosting an event. School liaisons host an event. It's the United Through Reading Road Show. This is where we have a 23-foot mobile trailer that comes around from base to base, installation to installation, and they're bringing with them over 700 free books for our students. So there'll be story time links at the schools at both Bailey and Branch Elementary School for our kids to participate in a virtual. And it's also open to our homeschool students, TK through 6th grade is that focus. And parents can come by, and all day long we'll be there at the southwest corner of the commissary parking lot from 9 to 4. And they will get their free book. Now, I have to put a disclaimer out there. They have to come by after school to pick up their free book, and our homeschool students are they're welcome to come by anytime throughout the day, or they can register. I have a flyer on that as well with the registration story times. But they do pack up and go the next morning, so you have to come out on the 25th to pick up your free book. So
Fantastic.
That's April the 25th.
And what folks you may not be able to see, and that's okay. Candace walked in with a stack of cards about all the events that are going on this month for the month of the military child. As you can participate in that, please do, and definitely show our younger members how much you appreciate them. Chief, your thoughts or maybe your shout outs for Purple Up?
I will shout out to two amazing children, my very own. Their names begin with R, so I call them my R&R. And you're absolutely right about the sacrifice that children, go through as we move in PCS. And I don't know how much scar tissue I have from each move and my kids telling me how much they don't want to leave this friend or that thing or this activity. And so I can definitely relate to that story. But it looks like you guys have quite a bit to offer all of the children, so I hope that our children around in the community get a chance to get out and take advantage of some of that. And I'm sure there's more information that they can go out and check into
Absolutely.
For the rest of those.
I do have to give a shout out to the Force Support Squadron because they're having their egg extravaganza on April the 16th, and I hear there's a bunny rabbit in town that weekend.
Something I have heard the rumor as well. Yes,
There it is.
And this is well coordinated production here today. Look at that. Candace, where does somebody go if they weren't able to write it down or they don't want to replay the broadcast? Where do they go to get all the dates, times, places, and other good stuff?
Okay, well, I will post some of these great events on our PA Daily announcements, and then our child development programs, the Child Development Center, the school age, the teen, the youth programs, they're having activities all month long to celebrate our children. So families will be able to see those in their individual facilities. They have a calendar of events, and these main ones we can put on the daily PA announcements.
Do you have an app? Do you have a place on the app for all that? We can find you one.
Mac is
If
giving,
you
Mac
can
is, Mac
find
is
me
giving me
one.
the
We can
thumbs
find
up.
you
Yeah,
a spot,
we'll get
and you
one
can
posted.
hang all those goodies.
We'll hang it, yeah,
right.
yeah. We'll hang it on the app. It'll be on the FSS website, I suspect, also. And if you need the information and you don't know where to go, you can literally text in to the number here on the screen, 707-412-8922. We look at it every time we have a town hall and a couple times between during the week as well. 702-412-8922. Candace, it's always good to work with you as we work for the children on and around the installation. We are so fortunate to have someone with your background as an educator and your passion for your part of this very important mission. So thank you.
Well, sir, I want to thank you for your strong advocacy for quality education of our students and for your care and your concern and really the heart. You've supported me tremendously in my short time here as a school liaison. I remember our first parade, throwing out balls through the housing areas. But I do appreciate your leadership and that strong advocacy for our children. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, Purple Up, everyone. All right, for those of you that don't know, this is also an important season for airmen. And when I say airmen, I mean A1Cs. Chief has a couple of folders that are sitting here. And in those folders are, if I remember right, 3 names?
3 names.
3 names. What are these 3 names, Chief?
Well, so I want to do a quick blip for the Senior Airmen Below the Zone program for the population, the majority of our population who may not understand how we get promoted if we wear this. And so typically, I'll just sum it up in that you get promoted from Airman First Class to Senior Airman around your 3-year mark, and there's a couple of other details that are involved in that, months, time in service, time and grade wise. And you also have to keep your nose clean, but typically that's kind of when it happens for you. In this folder, I have 3 names out of 8 folks who were nominated by their leadership who demonstrated exceptional performance and proved they are ready to accept that next rank. And so I'm excited that we had our boards in person again. We were able to get our chiefs in a panel in a room and have these awesome folks come through and showcase who they were, and we were able to score them and select only 3. And so, sir, this folder, this stack of folders is just about burning a hole in my hands. So I'm glad that you made me wait to the end, but I would like to go ahead and get on with that so that we're not keeping these folks waiting.
Yeah. So what we're gonna do here, folks, literally, because we're super not polished, but we try to put a couple things together of interest in an order that makes some sense. I've got 3 sets of extra stripes here. These are senior airman stripes. I got 3 sets here. And we're going to name off the 3 people, and they have no idea who they are yet. We're going to announce them here live. I can't wait to tack these on, the 3 of you, here at Airmen and Family Readiness Center as soon as you can safely drive the speed limit. Don't use your cell phone because you're so excited you just got a stripe, right? Get here when you can. Chief and I are going to hang out here for a little while after the broadcast is over, and we would love to congratulate you in person. So the first person that we have a stripe here for. Chief's got the name right there. So it is currently A1C, but as soon as we can put the stripe on you, Senior Airman Alexis Holland.
Woo!
Right. And if I could correlate units, I would remember that.
So she's from Maintenance Squadron, sir, 412th Maintenance Squadron.
412th AMXS or
just
MXS?
MXS.
412th MXS, a maintainer. So we look forward to seeing Senior Airman Alexis Holland as soon as she can safely get here. You're welcome to bring any of your paparazzi along to take pictures and do anything else you like. Congratulations, Alexis. All right, the next set of stripes. There you go, Mo. Put that on that. All right. Our next set of stripes, remember what squadron this one
Yes, sir.
is? Okay. As of yesterday, A1C Stephanie Lopez. Congratulations, Senior Airman Lopez. This is your stripe. Your stripes. I got 2, one for 2 uniforms, and we can't wait to see you here and congratulate you.
And she's maintenance group.
She's at maintenance group.
Yes,
all
sir.
right, 2 for 2. Maintenance group brought them strong. For those of you that don't know, the nominations are really hard to get, and it's a competitive process to include a board. And I tell you, when I look at the members of the board, the panel that these A1Cs had to meet to compete for this, I would be slightly intimidated having to meet with that panel. So for them to have excelled and done so in that environment speaks volumes of their capability and their future potential to perform in this grade, which is now theirs. So Senior Airman Lopez, when you can get here, look forward to shaking your hand. All right, Mo, there's the second one.
And last but not least,
yes, the third one, not in particular order, that picked up a Senior Airman below the zone, as of yesterday, was A1C Jaden Baxter. And there's your third for the hat trick.
and he's OMERS, Occupational Medicine Readiness Squadron.
OMRS. So we had so ironically, the Senior Airmen below the zone we made were Med Group and Med Techs, and that was our award winners that were on the stage from fourth quarter as well. So who knew, right? There's some symmetry in the universe. Airman Baxter, Senior Airman Baxter, I got a set of stripes here for you. You might be the first one to make it because you're closest, but I look forward to shaking your hand, giving you this certificate, and congratulating you on this big accomplishment that really foreshadows a lot of future senior leadership opportunities for you. So congratulations to all 3 of our Senior Airmen below the zone award winners. Not award winners, but our selectees. All right. Staff Sergeant Morris has got him, and he won't make you fight him for him. Look forward to seeing you when you get here. Okay, so I think Warriors of the Week, couple announcements on the side, a Purple Up announcement, and Senior and Below Zone announcements. Those are the things that we wanted to push to you. I actually don't have a whole lot of other things that I want to advertise, and we'll get to your questions, comments here. One of the things that I want to foot stomp, I was thinking about this as I was listening to some data today. We started this broadcast probably right at 2 years ago. It wasn't always on Friday. It wasn't always at 1 o'clock, but we stabilized on that really fast. So maybe late spring, early summer of 2020. We've been broadcasting to you in this from different venues, but always on duty day Fridays at 1300 because of the pandemic. We've been through highs and lows in the pandemic. I would say this is probably a better one of the highs. You've heard me say many things. Talked about elevated HB-Con levels. I talked about ways that we think we knew the virus propagated and learned later that it had morphed, or we didn't have enough information and moved on. So there's a lot of stuff we talked about from a COVID perspective on this broadcast. We are not talking about much about COVID right now. A lot of you are very elated about that. I think that means that we're not back in the before times. We're never going back. Kind of like 9/11 or Pearl Harbor, right? COVID will be something that changes our society forever, and we will never again go to December of 2019. However, as we shape into this new normal, it's really important for me to reemphasize or remind everyone the virus is still with us, and things that you can do when you can do them to mitigate your risk or your family's risk is still very important. And I will not be surprised if at some point we have a variant that causes a flare. Hopefully that flare does not look like what we went through in December and January with Omicron, but who knows? I look forward to working with you, working for you as we trend forward into this new normal. This is going to be with us probably certainly for the rest of my life, but probably for the rest of all of our lives as well as we normalize with it. So we're not talking about COVID because it's over and we can go back to normal. We're not talking about COVID because we've normalized and we're in the new normal because of a lot of hard work and a lot of consistent application of counter-COVID measures that all of us have done for many, many, many months. So thank you for doing that. Keep reminding folks that it's real, and when we have a flare or a poof, let's do the right thing and keep it relatively small. To give you an example in the news, a city in the world locked down 2 days ago, an entire city. They locked down the entire city. 46 million people have been told, go in your house, stay in your house, don't come out, and I think it's 3 weeks. That is a reminder that it is not over. Mm-hmm. If a city of 46 million people in another country, by the way, are locked down, that means the virus still has plenty of chances to mutate and lots of opportunity to spread and boomerang back to get us. So how about we not be in a city that has to lock down, and to do that, we'll continue to do the smart things, SMARTs, I guess, if you look at the acronym, so that we don't have to do that. And we can do things like have events like this and have face-to-face town halls and other things along those lines. So that's my quick update. 46 million people locked down 3 days ago in a city. It's crazy, but it is our new normal. Okay, with that, I'm ready for questions. Chief's ready for questions. She gets the hard ones. I get the softballs this week. Who's reading them? You gonna read them, Mo?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what you got for us? Make sure you eat the mic.
Yes,
Don't have B cubed. Get on you.
All right, so the first question we have, what is the status of assignment incentive pay?
The status of assignment incentive pay is dead, right? So the AIP is the name of the project, name of the additional pay. AIP was a package that the previous Comptroller Squadron Commander, now Deputy MSG, put together. We put a lot of supporting data from the Housing Office and other folks around, put together what we thought was an extremely strong package requesting assignment incentive pay. Air Force Materiel Command agreed with us and fully supported that, and it rapidly went to the Air Staff, where it hit bureaucracy. And it stayed there for a long time being considered. At the end of that consideration, our request for AIP for Edwards was, I'll say, turned down. That was disappointing, clearly, for me. Chief was around when I heard that news. I was not happy. And my immediate answer was, okay, how about the no but or the yes if? Mm-hmm. And so we immediately reattacked on the no but or the yes if. Not sure that we have any great insight into that just yet, but we've officially asked, it's officially not happened. Now, why is that so germane right now? It's germane every time you look at the price of a gallon of gas at a gas station in Southern California. And so I haven't given up on other opportunities like that. Out of cycle BAH, it looks like we are going to have some success at retroactively applying that. Don't count your money or spend your money before you get it yet, but that may materialize, and we're hoping for an additional increase in BAH. That won't help your driving costs much, offset your driving costs much, but it will help offset your overall budgets when we can deliver that. So it's a good question. I wish I had better news, but there's the answer.
Sir, I think
ahead,
with that being said, since people have been asking about COLA as they come in, asking about assignment incentive pay, and we are well aware that there are things that cause airmen to have higher expenses having this assignment. I think it's worth noting that based on the Government Accountability Office's study surveying all remote and isolated bases, that there are 14 initiatives or 14 recommendations that are being reviewed for OSD to consider as they rewrite the policy and how they assess remote and isolated installations. And so I'm trying to remain positive in that the Army has taken some extra steps after the survey results, and that we can mirror those same steps and do the same for the Air Force, so that as that policy comes out next year, we have some things some inputs in there that will make it likely that we'll get some incentives. It may not be assignment incentive pay, but there are other things that might be
Just
coming
simple
down.
considerations. The remote and isolated topic was something that I gave an update to the AFMC senior leadership team with Chief in attendance Monday, whatever that Monday was, 2 Mondays ago at the first day of the senior leader conference. And it really drives down into everything that you are all aware of because you live and work in this environment. And I continue to provide updates along those. What Chief is talking about is that the Government Accountability Office, in conjunction with the Department of the Army, have really given a pretty good deep look into, hey, maybe DoD, you need to pay a little bit more attention to these unique installations.
Right.
There are none in our MAGCOM, in my very strong personal and professional opinion, that are more remote or more isolated than Edwards in our MAGCOM. There are a couple in our service that I think are either a little more remote and or a little more isolated, and they don't have scale. Like Chief said, hey sir, have you been to Clear, Alaska? And I'm like, I've been by there, but I've never stopped. And they got us, right? If you want to compare remoteness or isolation and limitations of services, Clear's got us beat. But Clear should benefit from the policies as well as a place like Edwards. And there are others in other major commands and other services as well. There's also interesting language. We'll see how it unfolds. Interesting language in the 2022 National Defense Authorization Act, which directs the department to look at updating how we categorize and then how we care for the people that are stationed at remote and isolated places.
Right.
It's very high level guidance at this point. We'll see what happens there at the rubber meets the road level, but that is certainly something we're getting after. Chief, I'll let you give the crowd on the remote and isolated caucus team coalition. I don't know what we're going to call it yet, but Chief and I brainstormed that real quick, and she's trying to reach out for that. So, what do we hope it transpires to be?
As far as the body?
Yes.
Oh, so just similar to what the Army has done, 11 of the Army installations got together and they created this body. I don't know that they consider it a caucus, but we have a California caucus that was initiated here with the boss. And so we're hoping to mirror that and get all of the Air Force remote and isolated installations together, their commanders and their SELs and command chiefs, and compare the similarities and things that maybe these other installations don't have, and we can all make sure that we are going forward in full force to better our chances of getting some traction on some of the things that would help our airmen and guardians at these installations. So
yeah, we're hoping / expecting to have that coalition, little C coalition together, and at least some good talking points that I can carry to the Wing Commanders Conference in September. So we'll gather that well before September. Chief's got a couple forums she'll be in between now and the end of September as well. And we can say it isn't just Edwards.
Right.
It isn't just the center of the aerospace testing universe. It's all these other installations as well. I'm not sure, but I believe that we are the only remote and isolated installation that has 2 stars in the command team. And because of that, I think there's a special burden that Chief and I and our successors are going to carry on behalf of all those other airmen that are at all those other installations as well, to make sure that the additional sacrifice we make, being at an installation like this, is brought to the senior leadership of the department.
And I have a good feeling about it. There were 14 things that were identified, and I know for a fact that 11 of those applied to Edwards. So
Absolutely.
More
Yeah,
to follow.
and it isn't just about pay. It's potentially more services or
Yes.
more types of activities and things like that. It's a pretty good report. If I remembered the GAO report number, I'd give it to you. It would help insomnia like all GAO reports, but it's good, and it's a pretty good baseline for the way we're going to attack the problem once we formally build that cross-pollination or cross-talk routine. So, all right, that's a good lead-off question. What else you got?
So
Sergeant
the
Morris?
next question we have, do we have any information update on the air show for 2022?
A bunch of air show information updates. I actually have like the number 2 person in charge of that here in the audience. I don't have the dates off the top of my nugget. PA's with me. Do you have a chart you want to pop to?
15th and 16th of October.
15, 16 October, okay, I heard from off camera. It's effectively Friday, Saturday, Sunday, right? 3 days. Friday's not for the public. It's folks that can get here. That's when we're going to bring students on. We're going to have big STEM events on that Friday, the 15th, Saturday, and Sunday, the 16th. Am I getting those days of the week right? Okay, good. So it'll be an in-person open house air show, potato. But it's the 75th anniversary of both supersonic flight within a couple days of that, and also the 75th birthday of the Air Force. And so we've been doing a lot of history for the Diamond Jubilee celebration. One of the things that we are interested in getting your feedback on in a future town hall is what do we call this thing, and what are we gonna advertise it as? I don't want to just look backwards. I want to look forwards as well, and getting a good theme for the entirety of the celebration is super important. Yes, there are going to be airplanes flying, and yes, the Thunderbirds will be here and other things like that, but there's a lot of stuff to do on the ground, and there's a lot of activities that we will have, much like we did in 2020 as well. So October 15th and 16th, there you go. 2022 Aerospace Valley Air Show, and we're scrolling it up now. There's the nice picture of a B-1. All right, good question. I'm thinking we're getting some of those people wanting their stripes showing up, Chief.
Is that who that was?
Yeah, I like it. All right, I am not going to embarrass them and make them do something on camera. He's out there.
Well, that was my thing. I was going to say, well, why don't we bring him on over? But,
yeah, maybe.
But there's only one here, so.
Yeah, we'll get a couple more. We'll catch them just after the broadcast ends and give them their stripes and shake their hands. Thanks for asking about the air show. So highs and lows, right? We missed on AIP, but we're still progressing on remote and isolated. And yet, this is a place that's going to have probably the nation's best open house in calendar year 2022, after having the nation's only open house and air show in the calendar year of 2020. So I look forward to following through with what we were hoping to do about 2 years ago. All right, Sergeant Morse, anything else? Or
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Do you have any proposed solutions on the short-term cost of living?
Do I have any proposed solutions on the short-term cost of living? So I'm assuming that the person that's asking is asking about things like increases in fuel costs and the unavailability of what I would consider to be housing that both meets the quality and safety that we're looking for any of us, and how much you're getting paid in your BAH to that. And if I'm not putting those two topics together, and maybe a couple others, please text in the details. So I'm assuming that in the basis of my question. The answer is I don't have any immediate short-term solutions. Most of that is not only not in my control space, but it's not even really in my influence. However, we continue to be, we meaning me and Chief and the leadership chain above us, we continue to be very demanding customers of the processes that reset and update what BAH is and how often it's updated. We already talked to you about hey, if we don't get AIP, give us a yes if. We're harping on the remote and isolated capabilities. We're trying to increase the number of housing units on base. And so that is a short-term, medium-term solution to the problem, but it won't unfortunately impact anybody's pocketbooks in a positive way over the next few weeks or few months. I will say point blank that this is the time, and these are the types of scenarios in our history where being a little creative or thinking about maybe revising something that's what's old is new again. I bet if I looked at, and I did a census on the number of people in each car that drove through the West Gate every morning, and I bet if I asked security forces, it wouldn't average more than 2. And it probably wouldn't average a lot higher than 1. So that is an example of something that folks could potentially do to mitigate or offset some of their costs, and that is start carpooling. Yes, there are rideshare vans, which work for some folks, but that's not going to work for all folks in all places. Mm-hmm. So that is one way to do that. Another way to do that is, if you live in a place and you have a room to spare and there's someone at your squadron or your unit that could use that to crash in and have an equitable rent there, that's another great opportunity. That also reduces the pressure on the number of houses and units that we need, and that's a way to do that. Those two scenarios are relatively simple, and they're not applicable to all or anyone, and so that's a hollow or an incomplete answer at least. But those are the types of things, being simple and being agile, that are going to help mitigate this a lot. And if that's not enough and you really find yourself in a hurting way, This physical building that we're in has places and programs that you can turn to for help. So the Airmen Supporting Airmen, Air Force Assistance Fund, all the things that you've donated and that you are currently doing in the campaign, which is Air Force Assistance Fund right now, those are going to help airmen that find themselves in some just really, really hard fiscal or financial constraints. Chief, any other thoughts on immediate or very near-term things we could do
Well, it's
or that we're doing?
Yes, sir. It's interesting that you have a question that comes in and asks that prior to these huge surges in the fuel prices, we had scooters here on the base, and the scooters were just baking. They weren't getting any use. And then we got the scooters taken, and we were getting questions as, where are the scooters? Well,
They didn't get used.
they weren't getting used. So, but with that being said, the parent company for the scooters is trying to negotiate if airmen do not want scooters, and it doesn't have to be first-tier airmen riding scooters. It can be anybody, by the way. If airmen aren't interested in scooters, what else can we get? Can we get bikes, or what are the alternatives? And so I'm working with them to see what the a la carte menu looks like, to see what we can plug into those charging stations, because those are still active. We just don't have any scooters on them at the moment. But things like that kind of alleviate some of the costs and fuel if sometimes you take the scooter or the bike to work instead. And so I'm with you, sir. I don't know of a solution right off the top of my head, because I thought scooters was that, and it's not. So I'm still taking inputs and still asking questions to see what people want, because what I don't want is us to roll out with something and then that doesn't get used. So
Yeah, I agree, and completely agree. So let's talk about a couple other things that may not be directly related to housing costs or cost of living here, but we are aggressively pursuing increasing the size and the capacity at the CDC. How does that have anything to do with cost? Well, for those that are having to either throttle back how much one adult member of the household works, if we can get availability at CDC so that you can have more income in your house, that is one way we can help offset or mitigate this. And oh, by the way, we get someone else that contributes outside the house, which is great for the larger community while the children are in the great care of the CDC. We have a MilCon pitch and proposal for the CDC building. In addition to, we are hoping, I don't know which one of those to use, to have more folks that choose to be CDC care providers. And so that would be a great way for someone to contribute to the community and reap the benefits of being an Air Force civil servant as well. So that is one way that we can get after that. If a lot of those folks are not uniformed airmen, but they're civilians or higher grade uniformed airmen, that actually helps the NAF, or the non-appropriated fund coffers, because that program does not get subsidized and it actually runs quite well, and the rates are competitive. Right? So we're not taking money out of families' pockets. We're giving them a quality product on the installation in what some people describe as the best gated and secured community in all of the state of California. And I think that's a pretty big thing to state in this zip code 93523. Go Defenders. I think there's a lot of value and a lot of benefit there. And then as that NAF activity continues to grow and to continue to generate revenue in a cost competitive way for the individual families, it also generates the ability for us to have other things in other places that benefit us all. And if we can deliver that with more housing units on base, less drive time, less drive cost, less fuel expense, that becomes a virtuous cycle. And I'm super excited about that. I wish these were all going to happen today, tomorrow, next week. They're not, but they won't happen if we don't continue to get ideas and different thoughts and have you considered along the way. So it's a good question, spawns a lot of good conversation. We're a couple minutes over. Sergeant Morse, I'll let you screen the list that you got and give us one final one. And then I think we're close to having the folks that are here to get stripes.
there they are.
Yes, they're here. I can't wait to talk to you guys off camera. You guys want to come on screen and broadcast to the world?
Yes.
There's a lot of pressure here, so we'll get one question while you guys do your camera makeup and get set for this. All right, go ahead.
So the next one is not.
The last one.
The
It's the last one for the week. We'll
last one
archive
is-
the rest and get to them.
So the last one is not a question; it's more of an update from Mission Support Group. Club Maroc will have the final 4 available.
Really?
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome.
Starting at 1,500. Go
That's
Heels.
great.
Awesome. Go Heels.
Go Heels.
So you know who?
That sounds
who Sergeant
familiar.
Morris is? Yes. Is that yours, or is that the person that texted that in?
That was a text.
Okay, no wonder.
I
Okay. That's why I said that sounds familiar.
I wonder which neighbor sent that in. All right. Yes.
Thank you,
Final
Colonel
4 from
Harris.
Club Muroc.
We just talked about
Show
this.
up. I noticed as I was driving over here today that the lunch crowd is pretty good at the club, so that's pretty awesome. All right. So we have some stripes to hand out, Chief. If you guys can go to a screen that either talks about the top 4 of the club or something else, we'll get them on camera. All right.
Are they going to come on? Come on up. Yeah, come on up.
So click over to something else there, Mac, and we'll make a little less sausage broadcasting live to the world. Okay, we've reconfigured the stage, and we're going to hand out a couple stripes to the people that found out literally less than 30 minutes ago that they got pay raises today. So that is one. I guess there is one thing I've done to offset some costs
6
for at least
months
these 3
early
airmen.
than traditionally granted this stripe. So congratulations. Let's get it on.
Airman Baxter, come on up.
Woo! Congratulations.
These are earned, not given. Congratulations.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we're going to do this. We're going to go a couple snaps for the folks. Awesome. Okay, that's yours. All right. And now, if you could stand right here, you're out of uniform.
No.
But we have a fix.
Sorry.
No, sir.
Okay. I'll position it properly. Lighter in grade so everybody can see it. Hit yourself. There you go. Look at that.
Feels good.
Senior Airman. Looks good.
Yes, sir.
And here's a bonus one. Well done.
Who's next?
All right. Airman Lopez.
Congratulations.
Thank you, so nice seeing you again.
You too.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Again, these are earned, not given. Well done.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. All right, a couple snaps. That's yours. All right. Well done.
Thank you.
Okay, now you
Wait,
know you
wait,
can't
wait.
You can't go anywhere
Let's pull that off.
because you're out of uniform.
I almost
So
ripped off Baxter's shirt, so I'll let you do it.
Yeah, take your home. All right, so we got the primary that I'll let you put on, and a spare. All right.
It looks so different to look at
It does. You're gonna see every time your rank changes, you're gonna look at that and go, wow, how cool is that? Today is one of those. So there's the spare. Again,
Good job.
congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yes, well earned.
Congratulations.
All right.
You can give him to him too. Good deal.
Okay. The first announced, the last to get the Velcro, Airman Holland.
Come
Please
on
join
up.
us. Another maintainer.
Good deal. You did great.
Thank you.
All right. Congratulations.
Sir.
Earned, not given.
Thank you.
Click, click. All right, that's yours. All right, well done. Okay, now we'll see if, there you go, on-the-job training. You bet, you
Take
bet.
that off.
Hey, Airman, you're out of uniform.
Sorry, I apologize, sir.
Good, that's why we put them on Velcro. All right, here you go. Take time to look at it in the mirror.
So shiny and beautiful.
Yes, it is.
I'm not gonna cry, ma'am.
Okay, no, I'm not either then. Okay, good deal.
Tears of joy are often okay. And here's your bonus.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Congrats
Thank
again.
you.
Good job.
Yes. All right. Well done.
Good deal.
Well done. All right. Now, because I can't do this and not have a total photo op, why don't the three of you come back up?
All three of our
Yes.
quarterly BTZ winners.
What do you
Bring
guys want to
whatever
do?
you want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're here for you.
I think someone else will see it again.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, why don't you jam Chief there? Perfect. You two standing here.
Allowed to do shoulder
It's a good-looking group of three right there, everybody. All right. While we're standing here broadcasting live, I want to thank a lot of folks, and you guys are going to have some gratitude to pass out. I mean, you don't get here on your own. You got a lot of folks, maybe from your first TI, right? That gets you here today. There's probably a recruiter involved. I bet there's some parents or parental figures. There's got to be a lot of teammates, a lot of supervisors, maybe a shirt or a chief or two along the way. And then my ask of you is remember this moment and now go make more of you.
That's right.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Okay. Happy Friday.
Thank you, sir.
You bet. And with that, folks, we're going to sign off for this broadcast. From the center of the aerospace testing universe, I hope you have a wonderful April 1st, a great weekend. I think the poppies are out in full force, and the rain we had last week should have guaranteed their existence for the next little while.